January the 26th, 2025, 5:40 a.m. You know, boys, I'm just a little old hick from the sticks. I don't have any master's degrees, doctorate degrees, JD degrees. But I do have a lot of common sense, I think. You know, these founding fathers of ours, this Constitution, why was it written? Would it be a fair statement the Constitution was written to preserve this republic? Would that be a fair statement? Preserve this republic. You notice the oath of office, a lot of the elected officials in the federal government, what does it say in their oath? Defend and protect the Constitution of the United States. So those 9 people that wear those black robes that sits on that U.S. Supreme Court, they're going to have to make a decision here very, very soon about this birthright citizenship. All right. And it's not a very hard decision to make when you apply common sense. It is not unconditional based on the 14th Amendment. It's not unconditional. There's a phrase in the 14th Amendment in the sentence. If you're born in the United States, you're automatically a citizen. It's not unconditional. Now, why is that? Okay, go look where George Washington was born, and go look where his parents were born, for starters, okay? Now, if the Supreme Court does not uphold the 14th Amendment and say birthright citizenship is not unconditional, meaning illegal aliens in this country who come across and a female has a baby and it's a citizen, if they say that that is indeed true, here's what could happen. And this is what the founding fathers, when they wrote the Constitution, they were smart enough they could envision this. Okay? Now, currently today, we have nations that we deem adversarial. Is that correct? Even England might have been an adversarial nation when this country, when our Constitution was written. Would that be a fair statement? So we could have countries that are not adversarial currently be adversarial nations in 50 years, 100, or 200 years, correct? So let me lay some examples on you here and give you my thoughts on this. And then I'm going to give you the real example, probably the one that should be used in the highest court of this land. If sharpshooter went to the highest court of the land and presented the case talking about this 14th Amendment, the last example I'm going to give you here is what I would use. And it clearly shows the danger by allowing illegal citizens having babies in this country to be automatic citizens with their child at birth is definitely the wrong move, okay? For starters, a man and wife traveling to the United States as tourists. Maybe the mother is not due for 3 or 4 months, but she comes to this country and her baby is prematurely born in this country. Is that baby a citizen? The answer, in my opinion, is no. You have the Russian president and his wife comes to this country to talk to our president. She's not due for 3 or 4 months. You know, you wouldn't expect a mother to be traveling abroad maybe if she's 8 or 9 months pregnant. But maybe she's only 5 months pregnant and she comes to this country with her husband, who's the president of Russia. her baby is born in this country premature, and it survives. Is that baby a citizen of this country? The answer is no. If we have a female exchange student from a foreign country comes to this country for a college degree, education, even high school education, and they have a baby, is that baby a U.S. citizen? The answer is no. Now, here is the example that should be used in front of the highest court of the land to show you just how smart the Founding Fathers really are and how stupid these damn liberal-ass people are, these attorneys, okay? Think about this one. This could have happened. We had this Queen of England who passed away. She's not been dead that long. She became queen at 27 years old, if I'm right, okay? She became queen of the country of England at a very young age. Wonder if that lady would have come to this country when she was in her 18 or 19 years old and would have had a baby. And that baby was deemed a citizen of this country. But she takes the baby back to England. Okay? She becomes queen. Now remember, this lady reigned as queen for a lot of years. Oh, the baby decides, oh, I'm going to the United States. Oh, I'm going to get the residency requirements inside the United States to run for president of the United States. See, that's the only requirements, is to be 35 years old and to be a resident of this country, I believe, for 14 years. And you're in. You're eligible to be president. Oh, and she gets elected. Oh, we would have a what? We would have a president of the United States that's the daughter of what? The Queen of England. So you see what could happen. Any of these illegals having these babies, or any tourist, or any ambassador, or any visiting president, you got to treat them all the same. There's no difference. They have babies in this country, and you're deeming them. Notice what it says about the president. The president must be natural-born citizen. Be 35 years of age, and have 14 years of residency inside the United States. To be a representative or a senator, you do not have to be a natural-born citizen. But you do have to have residency requirements inside the United States. Now, here's the other part that could happen. All right, here's something else that could happen. What about a Supreme Court justice? Guess what? There's no requirement. There's no requirement to be a Supreme Court justice. So you could have, if the lunatic left gets their way and this Supreme Court of ours doesn't make the right decision here, you could have a child or even a grandchild of a president or a person in power of an adversarial nation who's president of this country. And guess what? They get to nominate Supreme Court members. Well, there's no requirement for a Supreme Court justice. All the requirement is for a Supreme Court justice is a majority Senate confirmation. So you don't want somebody who could have possible ties, conflict of interest. Would you want, for example, a Russian, a citizen who is deemed a citizen at birth, who is the son or daughter of a Russian leader, who could be a candidate for president. Oh, who could run and win. Oh, and who could nominate a Supreme Court justice. You wouldn't want that person. See, it would never happen. Because they would never be eligible to run for president. They could never get elected if they're never eligible to be a candidate. And that's the clearest example you can use as to why, what that little phrase in that 14th Amendment, there's a phrase in that sentence about if you're born in this country, you're a citizen, comma, and there's a phrase. That's what they're talking about. You could never preserve this nation if you elected what? It's possible. If the person runs, if you have a candidate who is an eligible candidate to run, they could win. So you could have a president of this country who could be a son or daughter or a very close kinfolk of a what? Adversarial nation leader. Well, that wouldn't be good for this country, would it? Oh, and they get to pick whoever they want for the Supreme Court because there's no requirements. And as long as they can get 51 votes in the Senate, game, set, match. So you got another conflict possibly. Now you've got your executive branch with this person being president elected, and now you've got your Supreme Court in conflict because this person has put somebody on the damn bench. And all they had to do is get 51 votes in the Senate. Now, it may take the vice president to break a 50-50 tie, but it's still. So that's the clearest example you can use. That's what this prevents. This will never happen if you enforce this birthright citizenship is not conditional. It is conditional. And I give you examples of what can happen if you make it unconditional. And it doesn't say that in the Constitution. It doesn't say it. You don't think the Founding Fathers would have been smart enough? Like, oh yeah, you're born in the United States. You're an automatic citizen unconditionally. Doesn't say that. Now, we can't sit back here, the high court. You're going to hear these people when this goes to the Supreme Court. And this should have been ruled on years ago, by the way. You're going to hear these people make reference. Oh, well, just because of what's been going down in the past shouldn't have anything to do with how the Supreme Court rules here. When it comes to monies authorized by the federal government because of numbers of babies or what, that shouldn't have any effect, because I've done give you the clearest example of what could happen if you allow this automatic birthright citizenship without conditions. Well, anyway, that's going to conclude the video. I hope you enjoyed.